In your career as a county employee, you may be called upon to serve the county in the event of a natural disaster. It is critical that you understand the role you are obligated to partake in as an emergency disaster worker. We know how important it is for you and your family to be prepared for a disaster, and it is equally important for county government to be ready to respond to the needs of our residents in an emergency. Every county employee is critical in that response. Per Madera County Municipal Code Section 2.78, all county employees are designated disaster relief workers. It is written on the back of our employee ID badge. Joining us in the studio to speak about what it means to be an emergency disaster worker during a natural disaster is Administrative Analyst Raeanne Jain, and on the phone we have Business Systems Information Analyst Omar Molina, who is the department's coordinator for Functional Assessment Service Team, also known as FAST. Hi Raeanne, welcome.
Thank you.
So we're going to just start this off with a scenario. Let's say an earthquake hits Madera County. So how does the Office of Emergency Services respond?
They will contact our department management as well as the Red Cross and Public Health, and we as a department will then be able to start a temporary evacuation point with them, with Red Cross. So we would go out to the parking lot that they set up, and we would help them with getting information to people and offering water and food, and just basically being that first point that you go to when you are required to evacuate.
Okay. So there is a policy that has been established.
Yes.
What does that policy say?
So that policy basically lays out how staff are selected and what you would go through at the actual point. So at this temporary evacuation point, which is just the first start of evacuation, you would come in and you would have a backpack with some supplies in it, and you would tell the people that are evacuating, we're here for you, we have water, we have food, and then you would be able to give them the information. And that basically is all laid out for you in that policy.
So let's go into the backpacks a little bit more. So they're going to grab this backpack. What's in it?
So the backpack is going to have some supplies for you as a worker. We want to make sure that you're comfortable. It's going to have some water, some snacks. It's going to have some safety gear. So you'll have a mask and a little fan if you are responding in the heat of the summer to like a fire or something like that. It's also going to have your paperwork that you need that's going to tell you exactly what you're there for and what things to expect.
Okay. And, they're out in the fields. Who is going to be their point of contact if they have questions?
Right. So they're going to be in contact all the time with our leadership. It'll be Ken, it'll be Steve, and the deputy director, and the program manager, Ken Shirley and Steve Beckworth. And they're going to be in contact with them all the time. They're going to want to know, hey, are they opening up a site or an emergency shelter site? Are you going to need to be out there a lot longer? And they'll be in touch 100%.
Excellent. So I'm going to go over to Omar. He is on the phone. He is the FAST team coordinator. So I just want to know, what is the FAST team?
Hello, Ashley. The FAST team is a functional assessment service team, and it includes trained government employees and community-based organizations personnel ready to respond and deploy to disaster areas to work in shelters.
So there's a special training that goes on with this. What is kind of their responsibilities once they're there? An example.
Example would be the FAST members going to the shelter. They assess the residents for access and functional needs and generate resources and requests for equipment that will allow shelter residents with disabilities and or access and functional needs to remain in a general population shelter.
All right. And if they want to join your FAST team, who can they contact?
Staff are encouraged to follow the chain of command, and who will notify me as the FAST coordinator.
So can either one of you tell me what the difference between a TEP and an emergency shelter is?
Sure, I can take this one, Omar. An emergency, temporary point is just basically a parking lot, like someplace where people are gathered when they first are evacuated. An emergency shelter is where you would stay overnight. So if there are enough people and the evacuation is going to last a while, then the sheriff will say, we need to open up an emergency shelter. The Red Cross will then select the shelter and open that up. As far as for DSS, then the people who would come to the emergency shelter might be a little bit different than those going to the temporary point. The emergency shelter staff are going to be more people who can help with CalFresh benefits, emergency benefits, or can help with other kind of benefits information, getting people set up for things in an emergency. That's when the FAST team is actually going to come in, and the FAST team is going to assess anybody with a disability or who needs any additional help in the shelter.
And if staff want to know more information, where can they look?
Well, they can look in the AP 13, which should be out very soon, and that's going to give them all the rundown of the roles and responsibilities and how they select the members to serve.
All right, well, thank you so much both for joining me today. Let's take a look at March's announcements. Cultural awareness training makeup sessions are on March 8th, so if you couldn't make the previous sessions, contact your supervisor and get signed up. The DSS Activity Committee would like to congratulate Vanessa Self, who run the membership drive raffle, and they will be holding their Ice Cream Sunday pop-up event on March 17th. The DSS Wellness Committee will continue having their Walking Wednesday event every Wednesday at 7 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. Keep a lookout for coloring murals in each of the wellness areas. March is Social Worker Appreciation Month. Thank you to our dedicated social workers here at DSS. That concludes this episode of Inside Track. If you have any questions about today's episode, or if you have suggestions for future episodes, you can direct those to the DSS Media Studio mailbox. Tune in next month for another episode of Inside Track. For the DSS Media team, I'm Ashley Monk. Thank you for watching.